Hey there, guys. It is an overcast day here in the fine land of Rexburg, and I found myself in my favorite parking spot. It's just a quiet parking lot, and I wanted to go for a drive. Didn't get very far because I live in a very small town. But yeah, let's do a little chit chat, shall we? So, my handy dandy notes app and my notes to go off of. I've been adding to these the past few weeks, and now I just want to do a sit down, my favorite kind of video to make right now, and just blabber away in the car. So, this is about religion, and to preface, religion has caused so much pain and suffering and heartache and all out war at times with groups of people when it doesn't need to. It really doesn't need to. It shouldn't be that hard to coexist. I love the sticker, the coexist with like the different signs and things on it. I've seen that on cars before, and I probably have to have one myself because I really firmly do believe in that. But what I'm trying to get at is it shouldn't be that hard to be okay with differences as long as they're not hurting anybody, as long as no one's being killed. You know what I mean? But instead, people blow it up and they fight about what faith, what gospel is true and what's not. And it doesn't have to be that hard. And a little background for me personally, I was born and raised in the Mormon Church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the LDS Church, right? And since I moved, I stopped going to church. Moved out of my parents is what I'm trying to say in October, and now we're here the start of May. So I've been away from church, not going every single week, not going every Sunday. I haven't been participating or attending. I haven't been in that anymore. I'm done with churches. I don't want to test out any other faith. I don't believe that there's a true church on the church, a true church on the church, a true church on the earth. I don't believe in that. And the LDS Church, the Mormons, they claim that theirs is the only church, and they call it the church. And they also claim that other people, other faiths, other gospels and churches and things, they have like bits and pieces, like parts of it, parts of their church, but not the full gospel. Which to me is kind of BS. That's like a slap in the face to other people what they believe in things. But where I'm at is there may or may not be a life after this, a something behind all of this. And let me get to some of the notes that I wanted to share. So religion is man-made, and it's unsure and cannot be proven. It can't be real. So religion is mankind, humankind, our grasp on reality and spirituality and what we claim to be real and true and raw. And so with that comes pain because we judge other people for what they personally believe, and we all want to be right, right? But someone has to be wrong in all of this. And I personally believe that church is man-made. It's man trying to understand the why we are here and the where we are going. And that's what it boils down to. It's a comfort and a peace to believe in something, and I've had that ripped away from me because I decided to leave our church, the church, quote. And I've never felt so good. I've never felt so at peace, actually. It was like a false reality, a false comfort, a false hope that there is a life after this, but I claim to be agnostic. And it's interesting, I just had a date with somebody last night who is also agnostic, but he's a student right now. We're a year apart, and he's supposed to graduate a year from now. So he's agnostic, but he's living the Mormon lifestyle because of the sake of his family and because it's a church school, so you have certain responsibilities and obligations to attend church activities and things. And my makeup's probably all crazy because I caked it on this morning. But anyway, I'm really getting into this. It's kind of fun to talk about. And it's funny because the things you don't want to talk about is religion, and there's one other one that I'm thinking of that you just don't want to talk about. Maybe that was the one that people just, politics. Religion and politics are the big boys that people just can't talk about without other people getting angry, But anyway, so yeah, it's very hard to be agnostic, be in that mindset, the agnostic mindset, and having to go to church. So I really feel for this kid who's not done with school just yet. But he says after school he's done, which is interesting, which is kind of like my story. Like, as soon as I moved out, that was the first thing I was going to stop doing. I got my ears pierced to really show, like, not the finger, but just to be done. Like, it was one small thing that I could do in order to release myself from the cult-like behaviors and tendencies and attitudes of, quote, the church. Okay, so God's earth is not here on the earth. I meant to write God's church. God's church is not here on the earth. And spirituality is, however, it's what man believes to make sense of the world. So That's so true. In my eyes, it's true. Like, God's church, God cannot entrust mankind with his church because mankind can be corrupt and selfish and things. And so why would God trust his church to be brought on by an individual? Like, he loves us. If there is a God, I'm agnostic. So I'm good either way. I'm good if there's an end, if there's life after this, or if there's not. But right now I'm claiming agnostic. I just don't know. I'm not saying there is or isn't. I just don't know. But it's just, why would God entrust like prophets and seers and things? I think some people can be spiritual and have like spiritual experiences because I believe that there's some bond here. That's the thing that I believe. I believe that there is some form of bond, a unity, a unit of something that keeps it all together. Because, and I want to say this too, something worked too hard for it to all be over after this life. And that's so true. Like the Big Bang, the big poof, right? Like, is that really what brought on all of this? I don't know. And I'm good either way. There's beauty in not knowing. I love being agnostic because there's beauty in not knowing. And I live my life not trying to prove myself or be anything important. I just want to be myself and do the best I can and be the best person I can be to other people and things and just experience life and enjoy it. And it's so beautiful to not have anything in it for me per se. Like after this life, oh, I earned this, God, give it to me, God. Just live your life as a good person. Is that so hard? You know what I mean? But I love not knowing. I respect other faiths. My dad and brother don't. Let me share that story. So long story short, I was talking to my dad and brother about this. My brother Dakota and I are really close. I adore him. I love him. He's great. And my respect for him went down a little bit because I found out that he didn't respect me because I didn't go to church anymore. You can respect someone who goes to a different church or who doesn't go to church at all, or who goes to a church, or who doesn't. What am I trying to say? But basically, he doesn't respect me because I don't go to his same church. That's what I'm trying to say. And I thought that was like blasphemy. Like that is that is just ridiculousness to me. Because he thinks of me less as his sister because I don't go to his same church. So what kind of church is that to have a member think that way towards their family? You know what I mean? And I have a sister who also left. I resigned from the church. I got a letter and everything. The first letter that came, it said that I had to get a hold of my bishop or he was going to get a hold of me. But then they retracted it and they sent in something else that said that I was officially done with the church, which I can appreciate. So that was the story there. So people just try to make sense of the universe and the earth and make sense of how bad things happen to good people. But life is a mystery. Life is a mystery. We don't have the answers. We can say our prayers, we can go to church, but we will never have all of the answers. I do believe in prayer, like praying to some form of being who is there, but I do that mostly out of like peace for me because I feel better after a prayer, and I say a prayer every single day, morning and night. And my morning prayers are more sincere, my night prayers are kind of tired and groggy, so they're not the most effective to me. But it's kind of like manifesting. It's kind of like spirituality. It's kind of like expressing yourself in a way. So there's that. Sorry, I got distracted. But life is a mystery, and we won't have all the answers until we die and leave this life, this crazy, crazy life. And we won't know until the next life. We can have all of the spiritual experiences and spiritual opportunities in this life as we can, but we're still not going to know what's next until we're there, because that's this life. This life is birth, living, breathing, and then death. And the death part, we don't have an attachment to it yet. We're not there yet. We only experience it then and after death. And a friend told me this, and then I found quotes about it a few months ago, actually. But is God conceited? Is Christ conceited? Are they all about them? Like, worship me, love me, do as I say, I command you. And I took down a picture of Christ in my apartment, and I felt stared at. I loved his eyes because his eyes were like a colorless, colorful rainbow. Like, they looked green, but also blue, but also brown. And I couldn't name his eye color. And I did have a relationship with Christ, or who I thought was Christ. But then I got to thinking, like, he has got to be conceited in a way. Could Christ also be a female? Could Christ have been made up? How true is this? And I personally think that it's too magical, too whimsical for there to have been a Christ, too much magic that we don't feel anymore in this day and age. Only magic when he was alive, when he was there, or here, I should say. So, is Christ conceited? Is God too? Are they both? And a parent who wants you to obey, like it's all about them, that's to an extent. Like, you want to be a good parent, you want to help your child along, but you need to let them go. My parents are very controlling, and they always have been. That's just their parenting style. And it can come across very conceited, all about them. They're not allowing their child to grow. God and Christ need to allow their children to grow. They can't command them to not drink. They can't command them to not this and this. Like, where's the experience? I'm not saying like drinking is an experience. I don't personally drink. Like, I've only had a few drinks in my life, and now I'm 26. But I just mean to say, like, are they all about them by forcing us, by telling us what we can and can't do? That seems very conceited. That's not what this earth life is about. To me, the earth life is very plain and simple. It's basic. It's live, breathe, do good, be a good person, have fun. Like, that's the roundabout way. Not roundabout. That's the all around. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm almost done talking, I promise. But yeah, so a friend told me at girls' camp, actually, like, is Christ conceited? And ever since then, I thought about that in the back of my mind. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. I don't necessarily regret being raised in the church. I do and I don't. There were good aspects, good parts to it, but so much of it was mind controlling and cult-like behaviors. And so because of that, I do wish I were out of it. There are good points to it. Like, I like how the family unit is so important, but they're closed off to LGBT plus. You know, they're closed off to certain things and people, and like there's the blacks and the priests and the women and the priests right now, and like too much old white man behavior. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about them. So just not catering to the world, not catering to everybody's needs, not catering to everybody's lifestyle. And I wish that there were a church that were just, well, there's gotta be, but just a church that is so okay with diversity and differences and different people and places and coming from different places, you know? And these people, that's a bad sign. They left the Goodwill. I saw them come, and I'm now seeing them leave. I've been talking for probably too long, but I really needed it. I really enjoy these types of videos and just talking. So that was really, really fun. But I'm going to get going. And yeah, that was what I wanted to say about religion. It doesn't have to be hard. If it's hard, then leave. Leave that group and find a new one, or make a new one, or just do it safely and carefully where you're happy and other people are being protected and taken care of. And no cults. Let's not do it. Let's stay away from that. Okay, so that's a little bit of what I believe. Anyway, on that note,